friends. Welcome to the next episode of the Mindset Minute. This is Amber and Trina here with the apt, amiable, and awe-inspiring Adam AAA Adams. Thanks for joining us, Adam.
Thank you for having me.
Trina is going to give us a bit about your background, and then we'll jump right into some fun questions for you about mindset. Over to you, Trina.
Thanks, Amber. So I have the pleasure of introducing Adam AAA Adams. Adam is coming to us from the beautiful state of Colorado. He's the founder and lead strategist for AAA Invest and an investor with Blue Spruce Holdings. He started in investments shortly after college in 2005 and is now a passive investor in over 400 units and active in 120 units with another 280 units closing over the next 3 months. Adam and his girlfriend have a combination of 2 boys and 2 girls, and he loves to spend whatever free time he can get with his family. Fun fact about Adam is not only is he a powerhouse in investments, he's also named one of the top meetup and event organizers, ranking number 8 in the world. For example, in 2018, he's slated to complete 240 meetups. We are so glad to have you on, Adam. Thank you again. And just to jump into things, as Amber stated, we're here to talk about mindset. So Adam, how important do you think mindset is to become a success in this business?
I think it's the number one most important thing to become successful in any business. So briefly, I would say that if your mindset isn't focused 100% on where you're going and you can't see it, taste it, feel it, touch it, you're probably not going to be successful in anything. So number one thing that anyone needs to do is to believe where they're going, to see where they're going, to have that vision, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's definitely one of the things that they always talk about is, putting together a dream board or something so that you can visualize. So that's great. So with regards to that, how has your mindset helped you grow and overcome your fears and step out of your comfort zone?
Perfect question. All right. So how has it helped me grow, overcome fears, and get me past my comfort zone?
Mm-hmm.
Mindset, how does it help you grow? Well, I honestly just think you can't grow without it. So I think you're stagnant if you don't have the right mindset. How does it overcome your fears? Well, that's a really good question. I would say that your fears come from the unknown, okay? So all of us, the fears that we have is because we don't see where we're going. Our kids are afraid of the dark. They're afraid during the dark, and it's not because there's anything there. And I have logical conversations with my kids. How come you're afraid? What do you think's going to be there? Well, I don't think anything's there. Well, I mean, what could be there? Well, I don't know, maybe a monster. Well, what would the monster do if there was really a monster? Well, I don't know. Like, what, could you punch the monster in the face? Well, sure. Do you think that would hurt the monster? Well, sure. What if you say right now to the monster that if they come to you, you're going to punch them in the nose? Okay. But still, they're afraid because it's unknown, because there's a possibility of something that could happen that they don't know how to control. And it's the same thing with us when we try to plan where we're going to go. If we're wishy-washy on our end result, we're going to have that fear. So the way that, having that mindset or that vision of what's going to happen, the way that that's going to help us is we have to determine logically and emotionally what are all the things that can happen and what are we going to do when they happen, because most of the bad stuff does happen. I mean, it's just going to. So you've got to train yourself. When the bad stuff happens, you just got to punch that monster in the nose, and then you're solving it. So over and over and over, if you can see exactly where you're going, if you can develop the path to getting there, then the fear that you have just sheds, because there's no more unknowns. You've let everything out of the bag. And I think that answers, most of the question that you asked. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know we hear it time and time again that people say people will do more to avoid pain than pursue pleasure. So I think that definitely speaks to that. So that's awesome. So what do you think, what are some of the things that you do to develop your mindset, and how often do you do those things?
Okay. I would say to develop mindset, it's every single day. You have to actually train yourself,
Mhm.
which is the hard part because naturally most human beings are more pessimistic than we are optimistic. There's some of us that are just always optimistic, and lucky you,
Mhm.
because you have an advantage. But for the rest of us to train ourselves to get there, it has to be a conscious. You have to hear what you're saying, and you have to understand what those words mean subconsciously to our brains. So if you're normally there to say, "Oh, if I close this deal, it's going to change my life," or if I would change this, if I would get this deal, it would change my life. Well, to me, you're already failing because you can't see it happening. You're just kind of thinking, if I got lucky enough that this would just fall upon me, then I would be lucky enough to have the next goal happen, or I'd be able to next start the next thing. Really, when it comes down to it, I purposefully spend a lot of time every day being really cautious of the language that I say. So I feel like I need to say instead, what am I going to do to close this deal? How am I going to get through it? How am I going to overcome objections? How am I going to, overcome fear? And it's always asking, how can I? What am I going to do to get there? And when you continue to give those solutions to yourself, verbally and in your own mind, is when you solve the end goal that most people have, and which is what is getting in the way of almost everybody else. So you have to incredibly intentionally use a different type of self-talk than you would normally imagine. And when you come to an obstacle where you're like, that sucks that happened, you have to turn that quickly into more of an opportunity. Okay, what am I going to do to get through this? And that is your new self-talk, is that you are going to get through it, but what is the way you're going to get through it? Instead of ever allowing yourself even a moment of doubt is enough to stop you dead in your tracks. So I think that's really, really important to note. What is the secret? They always talk about the secret. Imagining where you're going. I think that's more important than the average person would believe. So when you look at how many people actually believe in the secret, it might be 1% of the world. 99% of the world is like, that's hocus pocus. I would never believe in that. But then when you think about it, 1% of the world is super uber successful, and 99% of the world is doing nothing. So if you can wrap your mind around those things, you might be able to help control your future a little bit better.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I mean, you have to be your number one fan. And one of the things that I always try to embody, or some other successful people try to embody, is how do you get to that end result and overcome those obstacles? It's not fairy dust, it's hard work. So that makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. I
Thank you.
cannot wait to work with you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Bye.